right, we're recording everything, and yep, we are.
Yeah,
All
I had
right.
to make a last-minute beard adjustment, but we're good.
Okay, good. Thank goodness. Holy crap! I was gonna say. All right, here we go. We begin in 3, 2, 1. Greetings, everyone. Welcome back to There Will Be Dungeons. Time for D&D. Yeah, that's right. It's Sunday, and it's August 2nd. That's when we're doing this. It's 2020, and we're getting ready to play D&D. We're going to do that in a second, but before we get going, I want to mention the There Will Be Dungeons tees over at phoenixpearlt.com/TWBD are amazing, and I had more Pixie Blush in the last month than I think I maybe should have. So, not so much that I think birds are chasing me or are going to burn down a village, though, or whatever happened. I can't remember what happened. Was it ducks? What was it? We're chasing us, Bo? Was it ducks?
Oh, rabbits.
Rabbits. That was it, rabbits. I don't know why I said ducks. There's a lot of birds around me right now. A lot of birds in my neighborhood, in my yard and stuff. Ducks and geese. Don't ask me why. It's 2020. Nobody knows why anything goes on. But anyway, go over there and check it out. If you go to phoenixpearlt.com/TWBD, you're going to find all the branded stuff around our show, and you're going to love it all. Again, that's phoenixpearlt.com/TWBD. Now, as is tradition, we hand the mic over to Kristen, who will catch us up from last week on There Will Be Dungeons.
Last time on There Will Be Dungeons, the sinners situated in Sigil, and roused a rickshaw to take on Tabacho. Wearily welcome to the Wicked Waypoint, a rude rogue ready to bodybag the bounty, but Sirius busted up the bum. Now it was the moment to mention the missing monocle, but rather than resistance, the dragon drove away the drudges of his den and cast a cover to protect from priors. Tit for tat. No knowledge until Hope assented to assist in pushing him to power by eventually eviscerating the elusive lady. The hooded hermit nodded, and the contract concluded. Covet the Council of Clowns, positioned in the perils of pandemonium. To reach the recluses, go through gray wastes, travel to a tiny town station on the Styx, and ferry the final ford. But first, pass through the portal of opulence hidden in the House of Delights. They drove to the determined district, and a subsequent scuffle later plied purchase in a derelict domicile where Dr. Spider entertained the evening. He cleaned and cooked and collected a corpse in the condo, tasking it to tell tales over a sumptuous supper. The next day, their destination was Delights, a mansion on a mound. Expected by an executive, they were taken to the transport, a wardrobe of whips. They consumed a quarter of a carrot, grabbed a goad, and permitted the pull of the portal. The land they now located lacked luminance. It was as colorless as its cognomen connoted. Unfortunately, the melancholic macrocosm merged with the minions, bringing bouts of bummers to Bloodskunk and Dr. Spider. Now rejoin our villains as they vie for the voice. How will the tribulated two deal with despondency? Can they correctly call for the council? And will Bloodskunk ever shape sheep's shreds? Stay tuned for today's adventure following the fearsome feats and bruising beats of the Hell Squad.
All right, Bo, that puts us in your vicinity to do what we will.
So one thing I didn't note down from last week's episode, I believe it was Dr. Spider and Sirius that turned gray. Is that right?
No, I didn't turn gray.
Then it was Bloodskunk. It was two of you.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
I did a
All right,
bad roll,
perfect.
so...
I forgot to check before we started. Okay. So Hope, Dr. Spider, Sirius Business, and Bloodskunk Hendrickson have just traversed a portal from the House of Delights to the Grey Waste. And gray it is, for immediately upon entering this new realm, the four of you find yourselves on fairly compact dirt that is colored gray, and a little wind blows it, and a little eddy of that dust sort of kicks up. And as you look from left to right to back to front, you see nothing but endless gray sand, no hills of interest, nothing remarkable at all, except that the sky appears gray and the ground appears gray, almost of the same shade. And the only reason you can tell the difference, aside from the texture of the ground and the texture of the sky, is that there is a black line delineating a horizon. It's virtually silent, maybe the most silent you've ever heard. There's barely any sound except for a bit of wind blowing. Bloodskunk Hendrickson and Dr. Spider, have just sort of turned gray. Just very, not like a line down gray, just sort of almost in patches. They've just turned black and white and in grayscale. Hope, your path lays before you, but it is unclear where the path is.
So does anyone know how to find our way to the village?
No, I can't say I do. I've never been here, and if I can just offer an opinion, I don't think this place is very great at all.
I agree.
And what's with these two?
And
I'm
Bo,
not
Bo,
sure.
for clarification, we are silenced. We cannot say anything, right? Can we hear any of what's being said?
You can, yeah, you're not silenced. You
Oh,
turn
we're not?
black, you turn gray.
We just turn gray and that's it?
You turn grayscale. You're completely black and white.
Aren't we depressed?
Yeah, I don't remember what our deal was.
You don't feel any different at the moment.
Okay.
Oh.
So we feel the same.
Mm-hmm.
Are my big red, almost look like they're painted, but they're natural red lips, my torn up looking lips, are they red or is that all grayscale as well? I'm like a old black and white
It's
TV?
gray. Everything about you is black and white, like an old TV.
I've no
As you can see-
idea what has caused this, but I don't like it.
I seem to have lost my hue.
Both Hugh and I have the same problem.
Quite.
We'll look over at Sirius.
I think they're about to have a baby clown.
So anyone with tracking, or should we just start walking?
I guess I should actually check rather than just sit there and assume no.
I mean, I've got stuff, but I keep thinking I'm made of stone, but I'm not. Hold on. I do. In my head, I'm like, oh, you're all gray like stone and you can't move or talk, and I don't know why.
No, it's just like, it's think Pleasantville.
Okay. I don't like that movie, but yes, I'll think that.
You're black. This is not Pleasantville. This is the Gray Waste. It's completely different, but you're black and white.
Okay. Well, now I can't stop thinking of Tobey Maguire, so thanks for that, but it'll be all right.
I'm
Well,
sure it'll
that's part
come
of
up
the
later.
curse.
Yeah.
Or the blessing.
Okay.
I'm sure
so-
it'll come up later.
Natural Explorer. I got proficiency bonus. Wisdom and intelligence. Traveling for an hour. Choose a terrain.
You said multiple things that sound useful.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see what it'll do for you guys, because I mean,
Like, there's some words on my character sheet. I'm gonna read them out.
Natural Explorer, I don't know. Nothing we got here going well for us.
Are you? Is this? Would you call this a desert? These gray wastes? Is it desert-like? No.
I mean,
Is it
seems
flat and
like
desolate?
It appears to you as a desert milieu.
Okay. Well, then that's going to be weird because I am particularly familiar with this environment and adept at traveling it.
Okay. So if you're good with deserts, maybe this is an environment you're good with.
Right. So I can roll either intelligence or wisdom, and for more than an hour, difficult terrain will not slow us. We cannot become lost except by magical means. We will remain alert, or I will remain alert to danger even when we're engaged in other activities. You can move stealthily at normal pace, but that's only while I'm alone, it says, so forget about that. You find twice as much food while foraging and tracking creatures. You learn the exact number, sizes, and how long ago they passed through the area. So that's all the
Okay.
beast stuff. But anyway, that other stuff seems important for us to get moving.
I had a read through of some of this too while you were reading it as well. One of the ones that it says your group can't become lost by magical means,
Yeah.
except by magical means. So you are aware that you're in the outer planes. This is the place where gods dwell.
So it's all magical, everything here, is what you're saying.
Like you like I don't know what back knowledge the demons that are in your party would have, but you would be familiar with the outer planes in a way Hope is not. And as such, you're aware. You may not know a lot about this particular realm, but you are aware that you've been to hell. You're aware that Brent can kind of do what he wants and make his will manifest in his realm. You are in another realm like this, so you can't think of this as, oh, this is a desert on some world and it behaves like it does in the natural world. You are in a magical realm.
Okay, but
That being said, I would still count it as a desert, but I would just caution anything regarding this thing particular. It's lost by magical means. Your sense of orientation may be hampered in a realm that doesn't obey the real laws of, actual planets and stuff like that.
all right. I will. Let's assume I've conveyed that to my companions, and
Okay.
we can decide what to do.
I mean, really, we're only here on account of the guy you've been talking to, Hope. Any chance he's got any idea where we should go now?
A river. We need to find the river Styx.
Okay.
That's all I know. So, Blood Skunk, which direction would you say?
Let's do I'm gonna try to determine best direction based on what I know about deserts, assuming this is one, without knowing whether or not magical means would destroy this, Bo. So tell me what you want me to roll. I can either do int or wisdom.
It's a survival roll to figure out your orientation on a map
All right, well,
or in a location.
I'll do that.
Maybe nature, but not in this case.
All right, I'll do a survival roll then.
Can I aid him as I am proficient with survival?
Yes.
Well, that's good because
Roll with advantage.
all right. I also have some proficiency. Here we go. Well, that wasn't great. 10 is the better of the two rolls. 8 and 10.
So what's your modifier?
6.
So 16.
Yeah. No, that's
no,
with the
you rolled-
modifier. I rolled a 2
Oh,
and a 4.
jeez.
I rolled a,
Oh my god.
yeah, that's with modifier. I rolled a 2 and a 4 plus 6.
Oh,
yeah.
I see. You'd have no idea where you are.
I have no idea where we are.
Well, I guess we just start walking then.
All right. You're just going to pick a direction at random and go?
No one has a compass or anything to do any kind of polar positioning and say, okay, well, this would be north in this place or any of that. We don't have anything like that.
Like, so is there a sun in the sky?
Oh, yeah,
There's no sun.
There's no sun, but it's lit.
It's light, but there's no sun.
That sucks.
She'll just start walking forward then.
Is there any
Oh.
point of physicality out there we could look at and go walk toward that? Do we see anything? Okay.
No.
Before we get too far in the day, I would like to declare that thanks to the lovely evening we had together, everyone has 9 temporary hit points
Oh.
because of my celestial resistance.
Nice.
Look at that.
Very good.
Put a little celestial seasoning on mine there. 9. Yeah. Very good.
So we start walking.
Yep. Just in some direction, I guess.
All right. Hope you set off in a particular direction, with determination. And no sooner have you made 1 or 2 footsteps than a voice calls out to you saying, "You're going the wrong way." It came from
Did anyone
behind
else hear that?
Did we all hear it?
you. Everyone heard it.
Show yourself!
What?
We've no time for this level of trickery!
I'm down here.
I'll look down.
You look to find the source of the voice, and you see that maybe just a few inches behind where you walk through the portal, there's an orc lying on the ground with a little loincloth on, and he has his hands above on his chest like this, and he's grayscale as well, so he's hard to see in the relief of the sand, and he's staring up at the sky, kind of melancholy looking. Not that there's much point in going to the river Styx anyway, he says. He's
So
staring.
which-
He's not looking at you. He's staring up into the sky.
So which direction should we go?
Speak, Earth dork. Orc, I mean. I meant orc. I didn't really mean
He goes,
dork.
If you want to find the river Styx, you need to head to the town of Pointless.
All right. And which direction is the town of Pointless?
You know, I was thinking about that,
Great.
and I was thinking, what's even the point of that? Helping you, I mean. Why am I lying here?
You want me to bop him, boss?
Yeah. And then could Dr. Spider talk to him?
Okay, I'm gonna go over and bop him.
Okay, you're gonna bop him in the head.
Yeah, I'll lean over
Ma-
and just
Make
bop
an
right
attack
on.
roll and roll. Make an attack roll with advantage. He's lying down on the ground passively. He doesn't move as he sees you approach for bopping. Big minotaur in a suit, hulking.
It's a 13. That's the best I
Okay.
got with advantage.
That's a hit.
Okay,
Roll your damage dice. Is it with the
Is it-
sword or are you bopping with the fist?
just with a fist.
Okay, so 1 plus your strength.
Is
Multiplier, I
it
believe?
automatic crit when he's prone, or is it just advantage to hit? Oh,
It's advantage
just
to hit.
advantage.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So 5 damage.
Okay, so you punch him in the nose. Paf! And you feel bone and capillary like kind of squish underneath it. And then a little blood begins oozing out of his nose like right away. But as you punch him, he just doesn't move and kind of takes it.
Is the blood gray?
It's gray. It's like black.
Grayscale blood, ew.
Says, yes, I used to bop people too. But you can't bop anyone in here. What's the point of it?
I would
I
like
missed-
to use detect magic on him to see if the gray is putting him under a certain school of magic.
Okay. Let's see here. Spells. So let me just make sure I understand what I can and cannot reveal by researching the spell again. The Science of the Planes. Okay. So you cast Detect Magic, Dr. Spider, and you get a strange answer in response. There's both magic everywhere, but nothing in the vicinity that is of a magical nature. But your senses are somewhat overloaded by an unexpected, well, not an entirely unexpected result. You've seen this before in your laboratory and in the Nine Hells.
I will continue analyzing him.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
I
what
don't
way?
know, boss. Normally, when I bop people, they either die or they give up their information. This one's a little weird.
Yeah. But he's not dead yet, so we kill him and then we have the corpse
Bop
talk?
him again.
Yeah.
Great. Bop him.
Okay. Make an attack roll.
All right. That's going to be a 27 to hit.
Okay,
I
that's a
felt the
hit.
need to count it up. A 13 worked last time. All right, 5 more bludgeoning damage.
Okay, you bop him again in the face and you hear a bone crack, and his face becomes disfigured somewhat. And he just kind of takes it, continuing looking at the sky, and he says, perhaps it's for the best.
Man, he's a downer, dude.
My time here has been long, and I yearn for relief.
He's not dead yet. Go for it.
All right, bop him again.
Okay, make your attack roll.
It's going to be a 24 to hit and another 5 damage.
All right. You punch him again in the face, still bopping again.
Yeah.
All right, you bop him again, and he takes the punch, and as blood sort of oozes out of his ear and out of his eye, you cut him above the eye, and he just goes, more.
boy. He's one of those.
He's really taking the fun out of this.
Yeah.
Look,
we
maybe
should-
just tell us where we're supposed to go. You know which way's the wrong way. Maybe tell us which way's the right way.
I want to, but what difference would it make?
Well,
We're all
for
trapped
one,
here.
I could bop you again or not bop you, depending on whichever preference you're feeling at the moment. You kind of seemed against it, now you're kind of for it, so you tell me, and we'll have an exchange.
Perhaps you should enjoy bopping while you still have the energy to bop. Very soon, you will be like me and realize that all the struggle in all of creation is pointless. It's a waste of time.
No,
Nothing will
this is a waste
change.
of time. Let's go. And Hope will just start walking in a different direction. The opposite direction she was going.
You're going the wrong way.
Says
And
the
she'll
orc.
keep walking.
Was that the orc that said you're going the wrong way?
Mm-hmm.
Well, simply proceed in a circle until he says you're not going the wrong way.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. Okay. So Hope will start walking in different directions.
Okay, perfect.
And then change the direction each time he says you're going the wrong way.
All right, so the next direction you pick, he doesn't say anything, but you hear a loud sigh.
Okay.
All right. So she'll remember that direction, but she'll try another one just to be sure.
Okay. You try another direction. This time, the orc remains silent.
Hope's just gonna keep walking then.
Okay. All right, you keep walking. Now, how long would you want to keep up your march for? Do you have a plan for the walk?
You want me to bring him with us?
He doesn't seem like he'd be worth the trouble.
Do you want to come with us?
He looks at you for a moment, and then he says, "There's not much point in going anywhere."
He's indifferent to it. He's indifferent to a lot of things.
Well, whatever you'd like to do, Sirius.
Okay. I'm gonna just drag it. He's just wearing a loincloth.
Yeah.
Alright, I
does
just
not-
grab him by a wrist and I'm dragging him behind us.
Okay. And he lets you drag him like a sack of potatoes, doesn't fight back. He doesn't resist it. He doesn't make it harder for you. He's not making it easy for you. It's like he's got this extreme lethargy. How are you holding him?
Just by the wrist.
Oh, by the wrist. Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking the leg logistic would be weird, but wrist is good. Okay. All right, perfect. So again, Hope, how long would you want to walk for?
Probably about 30 minutes to an hour to see if anything changes.
Okay. 30 minutes to an hour elapses. You registered no change on the horizon and no change in the landscape. And this whole
She'll-
time, the orc's been silent.
Cool. She'll look at the ground and see if she can see any other bodies.
You scrutinize the ground. Why don't you do a perception roll, please?
An 18.
Okay. You examine the ground closely, looking just to see if you can find any other bodies, and you don't see anything. Nothing.
Well, this is pointless. Is he still alive?
Mm-hmm. Well, you think.
Shake him a little. Hey! You, still with us?
I persist.
Yep.
Dr.
Wow.
Spider, do you think we can kill him, and then get him to talk?
Perhaps this place could have odd effects on anybody, and it seems that we are on a time limit in this place, lest we fall to the depression of it.
Yeah.
I mean, carrying around a head's a lot easier than carrying around this whole guy.
Let's do it.
All right, I set him down. I take out the big great sword, and I'm gonna bring it down on his neck.
All right, attack roll, please.
Damn.
It's gonna be an 18.
Okay, and damage roll, please.
It's gonna be an 11.
All right, so you walk up to the defenseless orc who's lying on the ground. You using your sword this time to decapitate?
Yeah.
You bring your heavy sword down, and it sinks into the thick neck of the orc. But orc neck's pretty tough. It gets about a third of the way. And black blood spits out, and he just kind of looks at you. There's a bit of curiosity on his face, but he says nothing.
Okay, almost there. Good job. Let's do it again. Take another swing.
Yeah.
It's another 18. I'm just rolling so bad.
Damage
All right.
roll, please.
Another 11. Great.
Okay. This time, you sink your blade in 2/3 of the way. He continues to look at you, and he goes... He actually doesn't say anything. He just looks at you and looks down. He seems ready.
Is his head still attached, or does his head
His
come
head's...
off?
You're 2/3 of the way through it.
Oh,
He
great.
He doesn't appear to be reacting with any sort of pain feeling, and he doesn't appear to be reacting like he can't breathe or this is causing him any difficulty to exist.
Okay. Well, we're gonna hit him with some physical dice this time, because D&D Beyond dice are making me sad. It's not great.
It's a 1.
It's a 17 to hit.
Okay. It's a hit. Roll your damage dice.
8.
The 8's enough. You swing one more time, bringing the sword down, and you finally cut your way through the orc's head. And his head separates from his shoulders, and a pool of black blood puddles up and makes these clumps in the sand beneath it. And he sort of looks at you and looks down, and he looks at you waiting to continue.
Okay, this guy. Big neck. Head severed,
Yeah.
right?
The head's severed.
Okay, I'm gonna palm it and pick it up.
And he's kind of balding on top, and he's got like a crown of, well, black hair at the back. So you could grab him by the hair, or you could pick it up like a basketball.
Yeah, like a basketball.
Okay, you pick up the head like a basketball, like a big basketball player, one hand, just preach. All right, you now have the orc's head in your hand.
Does it look like it's dead, or does it look like he's still looking around?
No, it looks, well, it's hard to tell if something's healthy without color in the world, but, you know, it's blinking. He's looking around, not saying anything.
Well, Hope, we've hit a snag in the road. This guy's still looking around and stuff. Are you still alive?
Alive.
Okay, without any notice or any warning, Bloodskunk Hendrickson will draw one of his 499 arrows out of his
Whoa, you got
sheath.
100 more arrows?
No, I thought I had
You had
5.
400
Oh, you're right.
last week. Now you got
399.
500?
Sorry,
Jesus.
399. 399. Anyway, I pull it out, I draw it back, and I fire it into his head.
Attack roll, please.
Okay. That will be a 21. Ow.
It's a hit.
All right, damage dice incoming. One moment, please. 2d8. 16 total damage.
Okay, you fire the arrow into the head, and it pierces right through the skull and the forehead, just right between his eyes and right out the other side. There's a piece of brain dangling off the arrow as it pushes from the forward to the back and brings with it some brain on its serrated edges. He looks this way, cross-eyed into the arrow. And then he continues to look at you expectantly.
Would you say we're getting warmer or colder to where we're supposed to be going?
Are you asking the orc?
Yeah.
Yes.
I envy you. So full of life. It won't last much longer. What's
Wait,
the point of even knowing where Pointless is?
You said you longed for death, correct? Could the river give you that?
I don't know. His eyes and face react as if a new idea had been presented to him that he never thought of before. Sorry, 1 second. I got to mute for coughing.
It's very official.
Yeah. One moment while I mute for coughing.
Well, I'm just in the middle of speaking. It's anyway.
I get you. It's good.
His face registers like he hadn't occurred or thought to him before. He says. Then he finally realizes some deep truth, and he says, "What would be the point? I could never find it. This place is an endless void with nothing but despair and loneliness."
So why did you tell us we were going the wrong way?
I don't know. I don't know why. Something in me made me do it.
Blood Skunk, you want to see if you can find the river again?
I can try. So for a survival roll, Bo.
You want to examine the horizon again? See
Yeah.
if you can... Okay.
Just see if
sure.
there's anything I can
I'll
see.
give him help again, but the little tip of encouragement I want to give him is remember, water runs downhill.
I can't believe you assumed I believed otherwise. Rolling! 17's the best roll.
Okay. You scan the horizon, the desert being a terrain that your Harlequinari experience has made you familiar with, and peer into the distance, and you think you see a shape on the horizon, more to the right. If you were to make maybe a 40-degree turn right, you can see just on the horizon the shape of something. It's very small and very distant, maybe day's travel,
Okay.
but that's your best estimate, not knowing all the rules of this place.
I will inform everyone of what I saw.
Perfect. Now, if we walk that way, we need to drag something on the ground, leave a map or marker of somewhere we've been, so we don't go in circles.
I mean, I could keep dragging this guy, his body.
If you still want to, yeah.
He's spouting pretty good now. We could leave a little trail, and yeah. So I'll hold it by the hilt of the shaft of the arrow, and kind of hold the head over one shoulder, and then reach down and grab the wrist with the other, and just start dragging the body.
Perfect. All right. And because of your terrain thing, there's no fatigue for the 8-hour journey. Is that right?
Correct, according to this, unless magic interrupts it.
Yeah. That's what's up. So it doesn't slow your...
We can do tough terrain. We can do, well,
Okay.
I can
Very
stealthily
good.
walk by myself,
Yeah.
but yeah.
You'd have more advantages if you were in some real desert, probably.
Yeah.
Okay, so you move. The party moves in that direction, starting a march that will last 8 hours. Now, I'm going to need everyone to make another charisma saving throw, please.
I got a natural 20.
Nice.
16. Very charismatic.
A 1.
6.
6. All right. Now, as this journey begins towards the spot that Bloodskunk has seen on the horizon, after about an hour or two of this travel, Dr. Spider, you begin becoming possessed of thoughts of despair and thoughts of just a depressive feeling. You begin to feel very down, and you begin to feel very overwhelmed by thoughts in your mind that aren't normally so. I don't know if you share this with the rest of the party, but as the party continues on to walk, the three of you others notice that Hope has now begun to turn blotchy gray. And at the end of the 8-hour journey, as you get closer and closer to what you see on the horizon, actually, let's not say 8 hours, let's say 6 hours, because you're going to see what's coming up. Hope, you turn to them to briefly look to make sure the party's there, and everyone can see that you've gone completely black and white.
While we walked,
Mhm.
Sirius is gonna have a little conversation with the head. Just wants
Okay.
to know what his name is. Just chats with him for the walk.
He's not talkative with you. He just says, "What's the point in sharing names?" Everything you ask him, he's just like, "There's not much point in talking about this."
All right. Sirius remains undeterred. He just chats with him the whole time.
Okay. So then there would have been a lot of you talking, and then him going, "I don't know about that." What's the point of that? Basically, is what you got out of him. You learned very little from him, except that he doesn't care about very much. Okay, so after about 6 hours of trek, you can now make out on the horizon much better. You see a small township on the horizon, and the horizon has become cloudy. The township, by your estimate, Bloodskunk, maybe has 10 buildings, very small, one floor, more like huts than anything else, with one slightly larger hut than the rest of them.
Do you see this before us? Civilization in this stinking gray place.
Good job.
I pull the arrow, aim the head. Hey, Headsy, is this the place?
He looks out and he goes, "I don't believe it. It's pointless. You actually found the right direction. Not that there's much point in finding pointless, as you'll soon learn."
Well, I mean, we've already. Let's keep a little optimism.
I think the optimism among your friends is beginning to go. And he looks at the rest of the party, who are now all... Oh, no, wait. Yeah, who are all black and white at this point.
So it's everybody but Sirius.
Mm-hmm.
Sirius looks down. He's got black fur. Ugh. Am I turning? Am I black and white too?
Are you asking the orc?
No, I'm asking the party.
Okay. Maybe one of them will respond.
Look at your own damn self.
This is how I always look. I looked this way yesterday, and I'm looking it today.
Do you have color on you at all? Anywhere that you're...
Yeah, he's got gold accents and gold snout ring and stuff like that.
And then I'll look at
Oh,
him
you were going
and
to say he has a gold mustache because you went like this.
I will say, you've got a gold ring in your nose and it remains gold.
Okay, whew.
I think
Boy,
you're the
I was
only
really
one.
worried. Hey, Headsy, is this the kind of place that's gonna, frown if I drag your body in there without a head?
No. He
Okay.
says. All right. So with that, the party is mostly fairly quiet. With that brief conversation, we're ready to continue to the town of Pointless. So 2 more hours elapses. We're on hour 9. All right. 2 more hours elapses as you make your way. You always feel like you're just about to arrive, but then it seems to get farther and farther. And at certain points, you begin to despair a little bit, like perhaps the desert is tricking you into seeing this town. And really, it's pulling it away from you. But sooner or later, it begins to finally grow on the horizon, and everyone feels the littlest ember of hope as the party moves to the edge of this town that has 10. It's not barely doesn't qualify as a town. It's a village. Has like 10 huts. There's nobody outside, but there appears to be some fences around some of the huts, and in one of them you see a cow lying on its side, tail sort of flapping, just lying down. Apart from that, the other huts and the yards are empty. And there's one larger hut towards the end. There's sort of a square. So if you think of like a town square, you can walk in. There's a main road and a main intersectional road. And at that one intersection, and it's not even a road, it's just an area where the dirt is available for people to pass. You can see the larger hut there. And as you get closer and closer to the town, you can finally see the mist and fog that's behind it becomes more prevalent. And you can finally see on the horizon that there is, what would you call it? Like not quite a beach, but a beach. And you see black water flowing and a wharf sort of about 10 to 20 feet out on the water. The water's very calm and still.
Cool. Hope will make her way toward the dock.
Okay. All right, so you move through town. You don't see anybody. You don't hear a soul. It's silent. Does anything. You don't go into any of the huts. So as you move through the little town of Pointless, you make your way to the wharf. And there, the water is calm. And then finally, the mist, the fog, you step into the fog. So it's kind of around you, but you have enough visibility just to see a little bit of water and the wharf.
Cool, so continue on to the wharf.
Okay, you step onto the wharf, and the wood creaks underneath your feet. It's not fastened to the bottom, so it kind of floats atop the water, and so the wharf moves down a bit into the water, but not under it. And you step out, and it's secure enough, so you walk all the way out to the wharf, and you're now at the edge of the wharf, and the black water sort of is very calm before you.
We'll start looking for a bell, maybe something to make sound to summon a ferryman.
Mm-hmm. As soon as you have the thought, you see the silhouette of a boat and a cloaked figure atop it. And it appears to be approaching through the fog. There's a little lamp on the edge of the boat. And as it pushes through the fog, you see this hooded figure with whom you can't see the hooded figure's face, but clearly has a paddle. And the hooded figure has a paddle. And it glides quietly in your direction, and finally the fog clears, and so you see the boat and the light and the hooded man whose face, or hooded person whose face is completely blocked. And it approaches slowly, edging up to the wharf. And as it stops, the hooded figure pulls back the hood a little bit and then looks towards you, and you see a blue skeleton face. Without any emotion in it, just a skeleton, but it's blue. Almost shimmering blue.
Skeletal or just
skeletal, but like he's not glowing like a Pirates of the Caribbean ghost or something. Like it's like he's just a skeleton, but he's blue. He's like shiny blue bones.
Okay.
And he looks up to you and he says, "You require transportation, yes?"
Yes, to Pandemonium.
Ah. A long journey it is, but I can take you there. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Hesterbrook, the ferryman.
You don't look like a fairy to me.
Well, I'm a ferryman. I'm not a fairy itself.
Oh, for the boat. Never mind. I get it now.
Is it just for you?
For all of us.
I do not let any on my boat who do not introduce themselves to me. Who is in your company?
I am Hope, and this is. And then she'll point to the three so that they can all introduce themselves.
Well, my name's Styrius. Sometimes people call me Styrius Business. It's a bit of a joke, but, it's effective. And, I got this guy, and I will lift up the arrow. Introduce yourself. I shake him.
And he looks and he goes, "What's the point?"
I call him Headsy.
Is anyone else going to introduce himself? Or
Yeah.
just let Styrius do it?
No, I thought he was still going. I'll say, my name is Blood Skunk Hendrickson. And that is all you need to know.
It is all I asked, Blood Skunk Hendrickson.
Well, then we are in
you.
agreement.
I am for time in this mortal coil, Dr. Spider.
Well, I find myself in quite special company. An arachnoidica, a harlequinari, a minotaur, and a tiefling with something more. A pleasure. Was there anywhere in particular in Pandemonium you are seeking?
We
The
have
waters are vast.
We have to meet with the Council of Clowns.
An interesting organization. Well, do you have my payment?
What's payment?
And we can proceed upon your way. The River Styx is a dangerous body of water, and the ferrymen of it are those qualified to help those such as yourself traverse its many dangers. So the price is, some would say, expensive. I require something that you care about. From each of you.
Spit it out, man.
Oh, I have. I need something you care about as payment.
Hope will take out Fox and hand it over.
Ah,
And get on the
superb
boat.
craftsmanship. Interesting designs. Sorry, which one was it, Fox or Scully?
Fox.
Okay. A rare gift indeed. Thank you. You do indeed care about this. And he takes it, his blue skeleton hand reaches out from the hood as you reach out the gun, and he takes it in his hand lightly, and then he retracts it into his cloak. And it's gone from your view forever. You may step aboard.
Cool. Hope gets on.
Will your companions be joining you?
I will trepidatiously step aboard as well.
You can't.
Oh.
As you go to step onto the boat without having made payment, a force that you can't see prevents your movement any further, like walking into a wall.
Something I care deeply about you need. Is that the price again?
The price is something you care about.
Then take this, one of my many children, and I draw one arrow out of the back of my thing and give it to him. Oh, this roll.
I cannot be fooled.
I care deeply for every one of these.
I will take no offense at a harlequinary attempting humor. After all, it is their nature. But come now, that is not a payment that is acceptable.
Problem is, Bloodskunk doesn't care about anything. All I care about is the honor I feel in protecting those I'm paid to protect, and you've already taken her aboard. You have what I care about.
I think you have some things that you care about upon you.
While he mulls this over, Styrius looks like he's in crisis. He sets down on one side his sword, and on the other side he's looking at Hedzi, and he's just looking back and forth between the two of them.
Okay.
How about gold? You like gold? I like it a lot.
That is my gold you'll be messing with.
Well, in this case, I have 10. I've earned the 10 I have. It's all I have. Therefore, I must care about it. Right? Ferryman?
The skeleton makes no facial expression and says nothing as you continue talking and trying to make excuses.
Boatman, need the device be here for you to take, or can you fetch it from beyond the stars?
I am bound to my boat. You must cross my palm with what you care about.
I see.
Styrius stands up and hands the sword over.
He reaches out a skeletal blue hand, and as if by magic, he just lightly picks it up, looks at it. Acceptable. And then he retracts it into his cloak. And it would clearly not fit in there, even though he's quite large, about 7 or 8 feet. It's a really big sword. It vanishes in his cloak. You may pass.
Styrius steps on the boat.
He may not. As well, he doesn't say that. As you go to step on the boat, there's a force holding the head and body away from the boat.
Hey. Hey, I gave up the friggin' sword so I could keep Hedzi. Hedzi needs to come with me.
The skeleton looks at you and says, apologies, but Hedzi must make payment as well. And then Hedzi speaks up again and says, you see, what's the point?
Here, he's donating his body. I hold the body up.
Skeleton shakes his head and says, he is a denizen of the Grey Waste. The Grey Waste cannot afford payment. The Grey Wasters cannot afford payment.
You got
in most
anything else,
cases.
Hedzi? In that loincloth?
Everything was taken from me when I came here. And now I'm here and I can never leave because this place is what I deserve. Just leave me here and let fate do what it will to me.
Okay. Alternatively, what if I put him in the backpack? Then he's really just kind of cargo and not really a thing.
I'm afraid you can't litigate your way through the payment, says Hesterbrook.
Styrius steps off the boat. Or steps back onto the wharf.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, Hedzi. You've been a good companion. I'm sorry on account of the times I bopped you. It was nothing personal. I felt you were withholding. And I'm sorry that our adventure isn't gonna go any further. I will let you keep the arrow. I set him down on the back.
Bloodskunk should be like, that's my arrow.
Yeah, no kidding.
And then a clearly disgruntled Asterius gets on the boat.
All right. That's 2 payments. I require 2 more. Or not.
Let me try this one.
There, I had to pay 2 things.
Hold on. You say a thing close to each of us that we care for deeply. I only care for me, so take me.
Hesterbrook looks at you again, his face sort of unchanging, but you do register in the tilt of his head a little curious amusement. He goes, you know that will not suffice,
Why?
because I cannot accept a payment with no passenger. If I take you as payment, I have no passenger, and have thus violated the oath I've sworn as a ferryman.
But I can be your payment and passenger.
I'm afraid it is against the laws of the ferryman.
It's all I've got. If you think I'm giving you my bow,
I could perhaps take a part of you.
what part?
There's precedent for that.
What part?
A part you care about. It matters not what, as long as you care about it.
I really like my left pinky toe. Perhaps you could take that.
Very well, he says.
All right. I will lift my leg. I'll take out one of my swords. They're just wrapped in leather, so I'll undo some of the wrapping.
Are you going to lift your leg and cut with your leg in the air and not against the ground?
Yeah, I'm gonna have it in the air. I'll show you how to do this. So I'm gonna hold it in the air. I'm gonna balance on one foot. I'm gonna take the sword, notch it in between the pinky toe and the toe next to it, and then just with one swipe, just go schlunk and cut that pinky toe off.
Okay. Attack roll, please. Actually, you don't need to make an attack
And
roll.
I will
No,
say,
do an attack roll.
All
Do an
right.
attack roll.
All
Let's
right.
just see. I want to see if you miss and it gets worse.
12.
What's your AC?
14.
I'm going to give you with advantage, so roll one more.
All right. 17.
All right. So you bring your blade up to your toe and you cut it off quickly. Just go whoonk,
Yep.
and it hurts. So roll your damage dice for yourself, please.
All right. 8 damage. I guess that
Okay.
would be
Take 8 damage.
slashing or whatever.
Yeah.
8.
Your toe is also now bleeding black blood all over the ground.
Okay.
You'll need to staunch your wound,
I will,
or someone will.
Dr. Spider, if you wouldn't mind. The pain is pleasure, but we're losing time. And then I'll hold my foot out sort of toward him, like, staunch this wound. And then while I'm doing that, I'll hand the grayscale bloody toe to
Okay.
the dude.
The skeleton Hesterbrook reaches out a cloaked arm and a little a big blue hand takes the toe
Okay.
and looks at it, like on the hollow of his skull eye socket looks at it and says, "Acceptable." And he puts it into his cloak, never to be seen again.
Sirius looks at Hope and just kind of under his breath says, I don't think it's really fair I had to give up 2 things and he just gave away a pinky toe. I don't even have a toe.
I agree.
Well, maybe if you bring it up to him, he'll let you give a second gift.
Dr. Spider will give Healing Light a 1d6 to Blood Skunk.
Okay. Does you spool up your gun and shoot the hose at his toe?
Yeah, he's got it.
So it's in black and white, but still, he spools up his gun, and then like this Ghostbustery light beam of some kind that's science-y also just shoots to his toe and closes up the wound and heals you for the amount that he said, which I forgot completely.
It was, how much did you? Oh, you know what? I was already down to a temporary 1 hit point because I had your temporary hit points. So okay. I'm still at 92 plus
temporary
1.
hit points have worn off by now, I'm sure. No?
Oh, they have they?
I think they last till a long
8-hour march. Is it till the next long rest? Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, then never mind.
All right. Well, I have 1 point of temporary health and my full 92, so I
probably should have assigned more damage for toe cutting. That's fine. It's healed. It's a strange realm.
Indeed.
Oh, hang on. I have a... No, that's fine. Actually, don't have a question anymore. All right. So that's 3 payments. There only remains 1 more who wasn't paid.
Dr. Spider, with profound sadness, slowly unbuttons his lab coat, folds it gently, and passes it over.
The skeleton reaches out a hand, takes it, and then he brings it up, some of the fabric up to those nose sockets, and you hear wind go. Acceptable. And he takes the lab coat and puts it into his cloak. You may board.
A sad, naked spider boards.
Okay. Sad. Well, you still got your little baby shooter. All right. So the 4 of you, one at a time, get into the boat, and there's enough seats for you to all sit down in your own little row. And Headsy just sort of stares out at you, Styrius, as the boat begins to move in water and the wharf begins to drift away.
Great.
And you hear him say, "Thank you for trying, Styrius. I always knew there was no hope, but I'll never forget you." And then the shoreline is covered in mists, and you can no longer see the gray wastes as you push out into the water. And it's very calm and serene, and Hesterbrook is paddling very evenly, and he doesn't say anything for the first few moments. Do you guys want to engage in any kind of conversation?
How does one become a ferryman? What were you before this?
I was once a young prince in a kingdom long forgotten.
Is this a curse or a choice?
No, it was a choice.
And finally, continue, please.
I'm sorry for interrupting you.
No.
When I finally shuffled off of the mortal coil, some options were presented to me, and I always enjoyed paddling the boat around the moat of the castle. So when I came here, I said, gee, I should like to take up the oar. There's a certain greatness in shepherding people over hazards from one point to another. And I thought, yes, that is how I will spend eternity. What about you? You seem to be some kind of hunter. Not a common profession for Halaquinari.
I'm not a common Halaquinari. These red lips shouldn't fool you. Oh, they're black and white right now, but if this was normal, you'd see red. Actually, how do you see us, blue-faced man? Are we in full color to your eyes?
I do not have eyes. I have hollows. Can't you see?
Okay, so how do you know where to go? If you can't see, what is the point of a ferryman? Why not just the ferry?
Some answers will be revealed when you're done with your body.
I have one final question. What do you intend to do with my toe?
It's payment. I will put it in my bank account.
Will it gain interest and you'll find a full foot in a year or two?
Anything's possible, I suppose.
Invest it well. That's all I have to say.
What a weird conversation. All right, on that note, I need a break. So
Okay.
Let's take 5 and regroup for part 2
Yeah,
of today's episode.
we can do it. We're going to take a quick break. Everybody come on back in a few minutes, and we'll have more There Will Be Dungeons. We'll see.
Tell me dungeons.
All right, hold on. We are going to record now.
I have fresh water.
I want to record. There we go. All right, we're back for part 2 of today's adventure. Bo, we're back. Take it away.
Hesterbrook, the ferryman, a skeleton of blue, paddles the boat along the river Styx, quietly, calmly, but with seemingly great strength, as the boat traverses the waters quickly. And as their calm, hope, curious glance into the water, you see that it's black. And as you look into it, you don't see a reflection. But you think every moment as you look in it that you might see a face. But as soon as you think you see it, you don't see it. Hesterbrook observes the curious looks from the 4 of you, trying to get a sense of where you are, and he says, pardon me, but I forgot to mention, please ensure that you keep your arms in the boat at all times, and do not touch or drink the waters of the river Styx, lest you lose who you are. And he continues paddling silently.
Dr. Spider, to ward off depression, sings old show tunes facing the back of the boat.
Hesterbrook reacts immediately, goes, delightful. He enjoys.
Mysterious reaches into his pack, pulls out a set of playing cards, begins playing solitaire.
All right. So you can benefit from a short rest if you like. You're on the boat. That's, hit dice recovery and things of that nature that reset upon short resting. You are in short rest territory, so do that. Hesterbrook continues paddling along, and since the group is silent, he says, so we progress to Pandemonium. Who here has been to Pandemonium before? I take by your silence not a one of you. Well, so you are aware, I'm not just going to deposit you at the base of the steps of Pandemonium. We do have assistants at our various destinations that will help you to access it. You will meet an imp there named Voxil, and he will be your guide to the Council of Clowns, after which point you are on your own. Now, if you have not been to Pandemonium, know that it is a special type of place for those who lie and joke and care about nothing but themselves. Be very wary of the denizens of Pandemonium, for there is always an ulterior motive or angle, and they cannot help it. It is their nature.
So how would we get the council to give us information.
Ah, the Council of Clowns, yes. A very dangerous council, if there ever was one. For their decisions defy logic, in a manner of speaking. To gain the favor of the Senate members of the council, you will have to be amusing to them. Surely you know some stories or jokes? You do seem the brooding silent type. That won't get you very far before the council. But I only know what I know from the passengers aboard my boat.
Why is it as a Holoquanari I've never heard of such a thing? I don't know this council.
Sir Hendrickson, that was quite rude. I was in the middle of speaking. But I forgive you, for it is your nature to be thus.
All right, Blue Man. Finish what you had to say.
Oh, I'm quite done. What was your question?
Then I ask again. Why is it this is the first I've heard of them? Clearly I am one of them. I've never heard of the council.
Well, beware the man who knows not his own nature. There must be some explanation why you are not with your people. Find yourself roaming the plains. That's for you to know, not I. But I can tell that you are in exile.
How do you know?
Death grants you a certain perspective. And with that, the boat rocks a little bit. Just a little bit. It's teetering back and forth. Everyone has to kind of get their balance. They don't necessarily have to grab onto the boat or anything, but the boat stirs. And he goes, Esterbrook reacts and goes, "Oh, how unusual. I do expect the waters to become quite turbulent as we approach Pandemonium. But it's a bit too early for this." And then off to the side, you see a large scale, like some sort of a serpentine body, massive in size, sort of break the surface of the water. And it's just sort of, coursing. This long serpentine body looks gigantic, and only a small amount of it has cracked the surface. He goes, "Oh, I know who it is. Seems we have a visitor. Stay in the boat. Our visitor shall not break the ancient pact." And then with that, a large serpentine head breaks through the water and rises well above the boat. Tens and tens of feet in the sky. You have no idea how much, but a large head, serpentine leviathan, rises from the water, breaking it. And behind him you can see his serpentine body coiling in the water like a spring, sort of half submerged. And it looks up, and it looks down. And he says, "Master!" And the serpent head moves back and forth, and a forked tongue comes out of his large mouth, revealing rows and rows of teeth. "I hear your call!" And from that, the ferryman in the boat says, "Velathon, you will leave me to my ferry. You know the ancient pact." "Yes," says the giant Leviathan, "but I hear my master's call. My old master, who has forsaken me." I hear his song in your boat. And the water, like he's creating like ripples in the water, so now the boat's going like kind of like this a little bit, but everyone's pretty stable. They don't feel like they're gonna fall, but you can feel the motion of the boat as the waves begin hitting it, and the boat's like moving up.
Hope's gonna grab onto the bench she's sitting.
Okay. Water splashes up, but narrowly misses your hand. Estabrook says, "Don't touch the side of the boat now. You will be safe so long as you are in the boat. But if the water touches you, you shall not know who you are. I say again, Master, reveal yourself!" As the giant Leviathan, with his head poking out of the water, is looking at the boat, intense, staring but moving, can't sit still. He submerges again as the whole, and this process takes some time as his body moves under the water. And then very close to the boat, and very slowly and deliberately, a massive giant serpent face emerges from the water. Right in front of you. And he looks, his giant serpentine eyes are looking directly at you, Hope. And he goes, "This one! You! Why do you sing my master's song?"
What does it matter?
My master abandoned me. But perhaps he had good reason. His song calls to me.
Does it
Reveal him to me.
Hope will kind of look pained for a little bit. And she'll drop the healthy tiefling disguise. And go back into the hand form.
Okay. He looks at you and he goes, "Where is your song? I hear it, but I cannot see it."
I don't know what you're talking about.
"Reveal him to me." And the body gets agitated as his head's close, and the eyes come real close, and all you just see is eye in front of you, but he dares not touch the boat.
What did he look like? What?
"I know my master's song. I hear his voice across the waters. It is unmistakable."
What is it? This? And then she'll transform into the hooded figure.
Well, "Master!" The head coils up and the body, ploosh, and the boat this time seriously hits a big wave. It's like, whoosh, as it goes up. "But it is not you. But I hear your song. Tell me, reveal him to me. Make him speak with me. Or I shall destroy this boat and break the pact that has kept the ferrymen safe among these waters for millions of years." Mr. Brooks shouts out and he says, "You shall do no such thing."
Hope will look around for the hooded figure as she transforms back into a tiefling.
Mm-hmm. Outstanding atop of the water, you see the hooded figure next to the boat.
She'll point him out to the Leviathan. There, do you see him?
I do.
Does the Leviathan see the hooded figure?
Nope, the Leviathan's fixated on you.
What should I say? What can I say?
"This one here likes flattery. Befriend him, and then move on your way. He was of use once, but no longer. The depths of the dead and forlorn are his charge now. Reveal him to me, says the giant serpent. I must speak with him.
I can tell him what you say, but I cannot reveal him. My name is Hope, and I am here with 3 others: Blood Skunk, Asterius, and Dr. Spider.
Wait. Okay, you introduced everyone. Okay. He looks to you and he goes, him, I must speak with him. He must acknowledge me.
He has acknowledged you.
Yes?
And
what has he said?
He says thank you.
Oh?
You've done an amazing job. You're the best he's ever worked with.
And they're sloshing around the water as the serpent head moves this way and this way. In what way? Tell me more.
The most fierce, and the strongest.
Fierce and strong? Is that all? What of all the lives I have claimed? What of all the dreams I have stitched together into a quilt of fabric that I design in the depths of my realm for him?
Unmatched, unparalleled.
He truly says this?
Yes.
Okay, deception roll, please.
An 11.
He looks and he goes, yes, but this is so generic. He could say that of any Leviathan. But I am no mere Leviathan. I am the Lord of the Lost. Surely he has something more in-depth and critical to say if he knows that I've done so well for him.
Hope will kind of look over to the hooded figure. She's at a loss.
Okay. Yes. Provide him with details.
The number of souls is innumerable, greater than the stars in the sky.
Yes. Deception roll, please.
Oh god. 12.
Went up.
Yeah, one is that 1 point?
Yeah, well done.
That can't be all. What of those who swim to reach their destination in the outer planes, only to lose all sense of who they are and get dragged to the bottom of the river Styx? And then I take their soul and twist it like a blank canvas, painting a new form of energy so delightful and lacing it all on the bottom of the river. What of it?
It's the most beautiful quilt in existence.
But what specifically does he like of the quote? Aesthetically, what does he care for? I must know.
He loves the pattern that you've chosen.
Deception roll, please.
Okay. 17.
Oh, he does like the pattern. I've put 3 souls blue by 2 souls red. 1 soul yellow cross-hatched with 3 souls black, 2 souls white for interest, to make a quilt of souls repeating. He cares for this. I've done well then.
Yes, very well.
His body seems to, serpentine body seems to shiver and sort of purr with delight as he splashes around the water, and he goes, "What is your name, little whelpling?"
Hope.
Hope. I am Velathon. I am Lord of the Lost.
It's nice to meet you, Velathon.
Would you like to come to the depths below and see what I've made for him as a fellow acolyte?
Maybe next time. But right now I have business to tend to.
Maybe next time. He sort of slinks around and shivers and he goes, maybe.
Not maybe. Next time I'm here.
You promise?
Yes.
How long will you be?
I don't know.
Where are you going?
The Council of Clowns.
And when you are done, you will return to me and see what I have made for our master?
When I am done with my business, I will come back.
Deception roll, please. Unless it's not.
She's
A
not
deception.
lying, but the word business is pretty heavy-handed.
I'm reading you as not having an intent to come back.
Well, you know, once the story's concluded,
If
which
you
could
pre-
be years
If
from
you
now.
prefer to use a different roll, if there's a good argument for it, I would take it. But otherwise, it's deception.
Yeah, she's not outright lying, but
Okay.
it's definitely a...
Then it's a
in the future.
persuasion roll. You're persuading them of
Yeah,
that it's a good deal.
13.
All right. He smells the air. I smell avarice in your words. But if you serve him like I've served him, then you are no stranger to deception and lies, and the secrets he keeps. I will be satisfied enough with your promise. Know that the next time you cross the river Styx and you don't come to visit me, I shall take that as a great slight.
Yes.
Yes, you will.
Sorry, I was coughing, and this time it didn't make an announcement, and then nobody else was talking. All right. And with that, Velathon twirls about, going high up into the air, splashing water around the boat, but not in the boat. As he hits the air, he sort of does this leap and this curl and dives back into the water. And very smoothly this time, and he heads back down into the water. The last you see of his... It takes a long time because his body is massive in length, black-scaled, but shining in... There's no sun, but it's somehow shining and reflecting as it moves up and then moves back down into the water. And the water becomes still again. And Hesterbrook says, "Well handled. We move along then to the Council of Clowns." And he continues paddling, remaining silent. Does anyone want to do anything, or would they like to just proceed to the next location?
Let's. Well, I don't want to speak for everybody. I have nothing else to ask this guy, so I'm okay proceeding.
All right. So for the next hour or so, the waters begin to slowly start showing waves, and within the hour, the waves become massive, like the size of ogres, just like whoosh, and the boat begins going up and down. But your experience in the boat is calm and safe. In spite of all the roiling waters, you now sense that there is a magic possessed of this boat that is keeping you stable and secure in spite of the roiling tides in the water. And Histerbrook is not worried about the storm at all. He's just paddling along. And the water never seems to quite land in the boat, even though the sides get sprayed and there's these large sprays that shoot up. It doesn't seem like they hit a shield. It just seems like the water does not have a will to enter the boat. And as you reach these roiling waters, you begin to see a giant, super wide set of looks like stairs, jagged stairs made out of some sort of stone. And these stairs appear to ascend up beyond a point that you can see. There's still a lot of fog around, so you can't see very far into the distance. You just see enough to see the stairs poking through the fog. And with that, Histerbrook says, Pandemonium. It's made entirely of stone, and the passages and caves therein bored by the wind. The winds are so strong they could bleach my bones if I stayed out in it too long. Regardless, let's move along. And he continues paddling the boat. And eventually, you after another hour of traversing the water, the boat silently approaches a shore made entirely of stones, just rocks and stones. And at the base of this giant stairwell, moving up. And the stairs, it's not a stairwell that you could walk. It would have to be like a mega giant. Like each step is like hundreds of feet tall. As you get close to it, you just look up and you just see oh my God, it would take, a week to scale the first step. The giant stairs. You also see that the stairs look like kind of cheese. Like there's these holes all in it, just everywhere. There's these holes, and through the holes you can sort of see wind and dust blow out of most of the holes. Histerbrook brings the boat to a wharf on these rocks. This wharf looks broken and dilapidated, old rotten wood on it. No one's cared for it in who knows how long. He pulls up to the wharf and he says, Your destination. Voxel will be waiting for you on the shore.
Thank you.
Safe journey to you all.
Enjoy the tow. I'll get off.
Mm-hmm. All right. And as you approach Pandemonium, the color returns to Hope, Blood Skunk, and Dr. Spider, and they're cleared of any and all effects that left over from the Grey Waste.
So we get full color back to ourselves?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. All right.
And you disembark from the boat and reach the shore, and you go to turn around and maybe say a final word or cast a final look at this ferryman, and he's no longer there. You're now alone on a stony shore on a wharf with a giant set of stairs with holes in it in front of you.
Well, we'll start looking around for the imp.
There's wind too. There's a pretty, all your clothes are flapping around in a very strong wind, as well as the water.
Hope will call out, Voxel?
Oh, and you hear it. Oh, yes, 1 second, please. And then from around the corner, a stumpy little man, colored in he's sort of this blue grayish color, these plotchy places, just looks very sickly. Blues and grays. He's got lots of earrings, these elf-like ears, but he's clearly impish looking, right? He's got big teeth and a big pronounced jaw and a crooked nose, and he's wearing he's just wearing a jerkin and trousers, has some sandals on. He comes out of the corner, he says, "Oh, dearie me, Histerbrook was early." And he approaches from around, a couple of rocks. You don't know where he comes from or what he was doing there, but he exits from the rocks and he says, If I'm to understand, you'd like passage to the Council of Clowns, yes?
Yes.
Yes, that Hesterbrook. Always on time. Quite annoying, really. Anyways, are you ready to traverse into Pandemonium?
Hope will look back at Bloodskunk, Sirius, and Dr. Spider and give a nod.
Oh, good. Then come up this way. And his scurrying little body, his little body scurries up the side of rocks to get to the stone, and then he taps on the stone like, and then part of the stone sort of opens up, and you see that there's a passageway that was covered by some sort of magical wall that just moved when he knocked it, and there's darkness inside. And he says, "Come in this way," and then he enters into the hole.
Cool. Hope will enter.
All right, the party follows him.
Yep.
And as you get inside, your eyes take some time to adjust because it's quite dark. And as you get into this place, you feel the wind at your back pick up, and there's like a whistling in your ears. There's a wind just blowing everything all over the place, and the imp snaps his fingers, and then a little flame appears in his hand, and he goes, "This way," and then the flame goes out, and he goes, "Ah, drat." And then he covers one hand over it so that the wind doesn't really put it out that much. And he goes, "Come this way," and he begins walking just a little bit down the path. You see that the path, this cavernous rock path, bored out by wind, descends down a bit, and at the top of where this descends, you see a train track, and there's a minecart. And he clambers into the minecart.
Minecart level.
Nice. I hope gets in.
Come on into the minecart.
There's room for everybody.
Don't worry, it'll be safe.
Room for everybody, right?
There's room for everybody, but it's going to be super cozy. You're all going to be butted up against each other. There's
All
no
right.
seats in here. It's a cart.
All right, get
Sirius
in.
squeezes in.
I
Same.
assume Dr. Spider as well joins in. I see his thumbs up. All right, and with that, the imp Varxo looks at you, Sirius. He says, "Could you get that for me?" And he points to a lever just outside of the minecart. You gotta hold down. You gotta squeeze the thing to move it.
All right, he puzzles with it for a minute, and then we'll get it.
All right. And so you push the button, release the hatch, and the minecart begins going down the hill. Clunk, 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 clunk. And then it goes whoosh, and now you're speeding through this hole, and the wind is blowing your hair as you're traversing, going like at the speed of light. And then there's this like turning, and you turn right, and you turn left, and then all of a sudden you go down this big hill, and everyone's like just barely hanging on. And then as you go up the big hill, you go up another cliff, and you fly over this chasm. And then the minecart hits another rail cart on the other side of the chasm. And then all of a sudden you're doing these like these barrel rolls, and as the whole world begins spinning around. And he's just trucking along, and the imp's kind of looking up every now and then, like, "Oh, no. And then before you know it, you've lost all track of where you were, even if you had a really good sense of it. So many caves going left and right. And then he looks up and he says, "Okay, you big guy, hit the brakes."
Is that the spider?
Sirius
He's mysterious.
Oh, Sirius.
looks around, trying to figure out what that is.
He points beside you, and there's like a little lever like in the minecart.
All right, he pulls it.
All right. You pull the minecart, and you hear sparks fly out the back. And you're in this really windy tunnel right now. It's blowing through your ears and everywhere. And he goes, "Come on! This way! Out of the wind! Out of the wind!" And he gets out of the minecart, and he scurries across this sandy, cavernous area, and you see that there's this area where there's a door, a couple of doors, and you see written in scrawly letters, "Council of Clowns," like in paint over wood, and the Council of Clowns is written with a K, and the woods kind of looks like it's shaped into a smiley, teethy thing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And he walks up to the door and he goes, boom, 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 boom. Come over! And you guys sort of make your way through the wind. And then as soon as he knocks on the door, this clown head pops out on a spring. And it looks at you completely in clown makeup and he goes, "What's the password?"
Don't look at me. I know nothing of this.
I didn't have to look at you to know that. What's the password?
Oh, shit. It's like Thanksgiving. Little one. The little midgety guy we brought with us. Do you know how to get in?
Oh yeah, the password. I know the password. The password is dingleberries. Congratulations, you got the password, smart guy. Do you know how to walk through doors?
Yes. Let's get out of this
All right.
wind.
Then we'll forgo the instructions.
It's wretched.
And then the head pops back in and it opens up. And it opens up inside and you see just this long tunnel. Little anticlimactic. No clown world in here. Just a long tunnel. And the tunnel seems to reach into a room where there's light and the wind is all dead in here. And you see, it's kind of this empty cave, but in the middle of the cave is a writing desk and a writing chair, and there seems to be some kind of figure huddled over the chair with papers, kind of just seemingly working at whatever is on his desk.
Hope we'll start walking down the hallway towards the figure.
And Varxa looks at you and he says, "Well, this is where I leave you. Safe travels. Try to be funny." And then as he says that, the doors close.
I'll
Wow.
start to sweat a little.
Try to be funny.
And now you're alone in this cave, and there's a figure at a desk. It's just, in silhouette. You can't really make him out all that well. And I assume you approach, right, at this time?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so you approach the desk, and as you get closer, you can make out there's a man there. He's got a red and gold button coat, and then he has like a white shirt underneath. And, well, you can't really see below the desk. And he appears to have a large stack of paper, and he appears to be writing things on them. And he goes, no. And he crumples them up and he throws them. And then as you can see, there's a massive pile of paper that you couldn't see in the cave that you can see in the room, where he's been taking parchment and just throwing it. And he continues, dips his plume in the ink and he continues writing.
Excuse me. We're here to speak with the Council of Clowns.
Okay. And as you get closer to look at his face, you see he's not dressed in any kind of clown makeup. He's a rather chiseled face, black hair, black like pencil mustache that kind of juts out this way. And he's like, "Let me put my thinking hat on." And there's a top hat on the table that he takes it, he puts it on his head, and he goes, "Hello. I am Dario the Impresario, and if you wish to speak to the Council of Clowns, you've come to the right place, yes? Do you have an appointment?"
We weren't
No,
told we
we
needed
just-
one.
Well, what council in all of creation have you ever heard of a council that doesn't keep appointments? Most irregular, I would say. Would you like to make one?
When's the soonest time we could meet with them?
And he reaches into his drawer and he pulls out a large tome, and he opens it up, and then a snake jumps out of it, and he goes, "Ah!" And he knocks the snake away, and then he flips through the book. All right, so here's today, and he's like about 10 pages into the book, and he's like, let's see, and he starts flipping 1, 2, 3, 4, 500, 600 pages, 700 pages. We can book you for an appointment in 4,567 years, 36 days, 8 hours, 2 minutes, 7 seconds, 3 microseconds.
Surely there's a way to meet them sooner than that.
maybe there is, and maybe there isn't.
I have experience in these matters. Any cancellations for today?
Oh, cancellations. Not very likely, with a waiting list 4,000 years long. Most of our petitioners keep their appointments.
What would it take for us to bump in line?
Oh.
I am one of you. I am one of you.
That's true. That's a fantastic point. You are a Harlequinari.
Therefore, I should get preferential treatment for me and my
Therefore you should.
companions. Damn straight.
Yes. All right, make a performance roll or something along those lines if that's not quite what you're going for.
We can do performance.
Eh,
I'm not really fooling them. Yeah.
It's a social interaction. No, persuasion. Persuasion.
Persuasion?
That's persuasion.
All
Yeah,
right.
sorry. I was like, can't believe I forgot about that.
All right, here we go. Natural 1. It's a 2, but I got a natural 1.
Oh, does something happen with your character on a natural one?
No, I have a
Or skill
plus.
check?
I don't think so. I have a plus 1 to that stat, and that's the worst roll I could do.
Hang on a second here. Okay.
Oh, I forgot
Sorry,
you wrote some.
I'm
weird
reading your effects.
Yeah.
Let me know if you ever roll at disadvantage. That's important.
Okay.
Effects on attack rolls of 1. Oh, it's attack rolls. All right, so you're safe.
Okay.
And he looks at you and he goes, I don't think we could really do that, right? Could we really do that? Let you skip ahead 4,300 and whatever years I just said of appointments just because you're Harlequinari? Wouldn't
What's
they
the-
call us
what's the-
racists?
What's the harm? Who cares what they call you? I am
Well,
one
they're
of
saying racism's harmful.
You're not doing
And
it for.
nepotism?
You're not doing it for race. You're doing it for expediency.
Persuasion roll, please.
Okay. Please be better than that last one. A 19.
You're right. Since you're a Harlequinari and the Council of Clowns as well, you know what they are. Perhaps it's a great idea. I'm inspired by this idea. Yes, I think your appointment will be now. Yes, let's do this.
Excellent.
I'm glad I put my thinking hat on. All right, and so if you're going to see the Council of Clowns, it's because you want something from them. And what do you want? I need to know before we can go. I have to prepare.
The location of the eye that goes with the hand.
The eye that goes with the hand?
Yes.
Like, you know, there are many eyes and many hands in the multiverse.
We were
and-
told they would know which eye we speak of, and that they would know exactly where it is.
Okay.
Specifically, the
Okay.
Council of Clowns. It's like saying to you, "Where's the last place you pooped?" And you could say, "My pants," and it would be accurate. It's like that. They'll know.
Ah! He likes that. He goes, okay. Are you aware of the rules of
No.
council? Oh, no. Well, the Council of Clowns has a great history of helping the universe with its many decisions. And a large part of that is, once you make a petition, if they approve of your petition, then they carry it forth with whatever you've asked them. But if they don't like your petition, well, let's just say you won't be making any more petitions after that. Oh, it's quite the event. So, you guys ready? You're going to ask about a hand and an eye. Sounds promising, I'm sure.
Any
Hope will kind of nervously seek out the hooded figure.
Okay, so you look around, you look for the hooded figure, and you see him standing somewhat beside Dario, the impresario.
And mentally, she's looking for some sort of reassurance that this is okay.
You don't see his face, except for the mouth sort of jutting out. You just see a nod
Okay. Let's do this then.
Oh, good. I have to get ready first. 1 second. And he walks, he crawls under his desk. Yeah, he crawls under his desk.
That's it.
Mm-hmm. You can't see him, though. He crawls under his desk and disappears from view, I should say.
We'll wait here then, shall we?
Mm-hmm. Instantly, he gets back up, and now he's dressed to the nines in this, like, ringmaster circus outfit. Like, he's just like perfect. He's got the like an even more elaborate red coat. There's almost like these military like things. What do you call them? Just like honor badges and things of that nature.
Medals.
Probably a more official term. Medals.
Honor badges.
You know, the official term medals on his ringmaster jacket. It's got these tails on them, and he's got his top hat even looks like it was just cleaned and minted. It like shines and sparkles like fresh teeth from brushing. And he's got these black shiny boots and these white pants, and he's got like a whip attached to his belt, and he's like, "I'm ready.
Okay.
Let us go." And behind him in the shadows, the shadows sort of part and light begins to appear. And you see this giant clown face just in the wall. And he walks up to it and he just taps it real lightly. And then you just hear and the door seems to laugh as it opens. And he looks at you and he says, "That door was specially installed by the Door Authority.
Oh no.
Come on in, it's safe though."
Hope
And then-
shakes her head as she walks through.
And you begin to walk through, and your trepidation leaves you. You walk through without any event or altercation. You walk through the doorway and open into this large stone room. It looks rather depressing in here. Basically, there's light spilling out of some holes, and the holes shine makeshift in the stone this bench with 13 seats, and there's this marble aspect to it, and it's got the faces of clowns etched in them, but they look rather kind of savage and demonic. Their laughter is crazy and not like friendly or safe. Like just all these, it's just diorama of clowns etched in the sculpted out of the ivory on this great bench, but the rest of it is just this desolate cavern. And in the center is a raised platform that's circular, and Dario the impresario walks calmly and confidently to the center of the raised platform and turns around and bids you to follow.
Hope follows.
Yeah, I'm following.
All right, the party follows, and Dario the impresario takes out a scroll from his sleeve, opens it up, and looks and says, I never got your names. What are they, quick?"
Hope. And then she'll look at everyone else.
Blood Skunk Hendrickson.
Okay, he rolls it up, and then he gets out a whistle from inside of his shirt. He goes, and then with that, lights from magical nowhere, like these glowing bulbs of different color lights swirl out of the ground and begin swirling around. You hear, and the walls begin to waste away, and then there's all these clowns like in a giant auditorium, and you hear just a large chorus of laughter and madness, and then fruits and vegetables are being thrown at you guys, and they're getting assaulted from all sides. And then as this laughter, this like endless coliseum filled with clowns are just laughing at you endlessly, you begin to see a procession of clowns exit from some curtain and begin taking seats. These 13 clowns in the 13 seats on the bench of ivory. And then as the final one in the middle sits down, he has this big oversized gavel. And then he goes to hit it, and then it flies off, and you hear like a boom when he looks up in the air, and then it flies up into the air, and it hits an audience member in the head, and there's like baff, and then the whole castle goes, ah! And then finally he gets out another mallet and he goes to hit it, and then he stops for a second and he checks the mallet, and then he goes, all right. And then when he does that, the whole mallet just breaks into a cloud of dust, and now the clown's like and so finally another clown next to him just comes out and reaches down and gives him a proper mallet. And then he takes the mallet and he just holds it so that it won't blow up, and he goes, and this time it finally works, and he goes, order in the Council of Clowns. And with that, the auditorium silences. And Dario, the impresario, reaches for the scroll again, opens it up, and says, before the Council of Clowns today, we have new petitioners who would like to know a question only the Council of Clowns in their infinite wisdom and hilarity may answer. Well then. And he looks down, he looks up, he says, I introduce to you Hope, Blood Skunk Hendrickson, not Stanley, Mysterious Business, and we have a professional here, a Dr. Spider. I shall have to ask you where you got your education after. Okay. They wish to know where they may find the hand and the or sorry, not the hand. They wish to know where they can find the hand, and they seek the Council's wisdom.
No, the eye.
Oh, sorry, I keep saying. Oh yeah, the eye, the eye. They seek your counsel to discover the whereabouts of the eye. And then the one clown in the middle with the hammer takes it and holds it and goes, and he's like, very well. Let this session to hear their plea begin, or their petition begin. And so one of the clowns sits up, and then he looks, and as he sits up, you hear, and he goes, and then the whole crowd roars with laughter. And then he looks at you kind of smiling, he goes, so who's speaking on behalf of the four of you?
That would be me.
Okay. Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Hope will wave back.
And then the whole council waves at you.
Hope will continue waving.
They keep waving.
I'm looking for the eye that goes with the hand. And when she says the hand, she'll transform so that just her arm becomes the claw, the hand.
And all the clowns look at each other and go, and the whole audience is like, and then finally the middle council member goes, I shall introduce myself. I am Bobo the Clown. Yes, I know, it's a funny name, but it's what my mother gave me. And she gave me some other things too that I'm still seeing the doctor about. And the whole council begins laughing. And they're like, so, should we begin?
Yes.
And then another clown sort of looks at you and peers. And this is, you can tell there's feminine attributes to this clown. She's clearly dressed like a princess, has a big princess dress on, and, you know, is more like done up clown style than the other clowns. And she goes, Princess Cecilia here. What are you here for?
To find the location of the eye that goes with this hand.
What?
And Hope will stand there. You heard what I said.
The clown next to Princess Cecilia sort of knocks her and whispers at her, and she goes, oh, and she sort of reaches into her ear and she pulls out a worm and tosses it aside. She goes, sorry, say it again. They had worms in my ear.
The eye that goes with this hand. And she'll hold up the hand again.
This hand. And then another council member says, Godfrey here. You presume to know which hand was speaking of. Like there aren't trillions and trillions of hands. What makes this hand before us so special?
It belongs to a hooded figure that only I can see.
And then another clown looks around at you. It belongs to a hooded figure. She's really narrowed it down! The whole audience starts roaring with laughter. We'll have this solved in minutes!
I'm just standing there fuming.
Oh, Bobo looks and leans over. He's the centerpiece of the thing. Oh, now someone's getting a little testy, I think.
I whisper in your ear very quietly. I apologize. My people are terrible.
How am I supposed to talk to them?
Just give them answers where it makes sense. Let them babble on otherwise.
Doesn't make any sense. How do I narrow down? I don't even know what this is.
I agree. I just have a feeling we'll get there.
Okay.
Princess Cecilia speaks up and she says, I think you're confusing your little testy with her demeanor. And the audience goes, bah! And Princess Cecilia gets some high fives for her slam on Bobo.
It is a hand that can kill with touch.
Ooh, the whole auditorium is like, ooh.
And it turned me into this. And then she'll go into hand demon form.
All right, and as you transform into a demon, the whole crowd goes, woo! And then another clown looks up and he goes, I'm Sparky! That was cool! What else can you change into?
Hope will kind of cringe as she does this, but she'll transform into Sparky.
Oh! The whole audience is just oh, yes! Mm-hmm, yes! Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. The clowns look at each other, and then Bobo says, do you think we should stop? And the other clowns go, I'm quite enjoying this. So they continue clapping. And then finally one of the clowns goes, ow! 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 And the clown pros up and he goes, Roger here. My carpal tunnel syndrome is acting up. Wow! I must excuse myself and see a doctor immediately. And Roger the clown gets up, holding his hand, and excuses himself and disappears behind the curtain. And then Bobo goes, well, there he goes again. Always with the arm. What do you suppose he does with the arm, Hope?
I have no idea.
What do you think that Roger the clown could be doing with his arm that causes it to have repetitive motion? He's a clown.
Asking people to pull his finger?
Bobo strokes his painted chin. Wouldn't that give others carpal tunnel syndrome?
Maybe. I only ever knew one person who asked me to do that.
Who was that? A fine genius.
That would have been Nash, my god of the solar mines.
And the clowns look around. They go, nope, never heard of him.
I'm sure you will one day.
And that seems like a promise that could be kept. So you'd like to know where an eye is? And the eye is somehow connected to that hand. Yes?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about you. And he turns to his other council members. But I smell something familiar. And then there's a That's familiar
Gonna
too.
look back at Blood Skunk and just shake her head.
You wonder why I left this bunch.
And another clown speaks up. Excuse me, Wolf here with a question. And then his chair explodes. And the clown just goes flying into the sky. And into the stratosphere. And then Bobo looks and he goes, oh, there goes Wolf again. You know, if you wait too long to get this done, well, none of us will be left.
So how do we get this done?
Oh, I need to smell your hand.
Okay. And she'll transform back into tiefling form, but have the hand be the hand.
You may approach the bench. And then he takes the mallet and he hits it, and the thing fires up into the air again. He goes, he throws the stick in frustration, and he reaches down and he gets out another mallet and he puts it down and he puts his hands like above it and he goes, just stay there. Stay there. And he turns to you and he says, spelling time.
Okay. And she'll offer up the hand.
All right, and as you approach the bench is way up, so you're gonna have to tiptoe up to get them to smell.
Okay, so she tiptoes up
Mm-hmm.
to offer the hand.
Okay, and he reaches down. And as he reaches down, the two clowns sitting next to him get up and approach his chair, and they begin dropping their pencils, like they're like these quills, like into his butt crack. And then he smells the hand. Oh, that's awful. Yeah, that's it. And then he sits back down and he goes, oh, 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 oh. And he looks at you, Hope. He says, who did that?
It was
And
the
the two
two
clowns
next
sitting
to you.
either of them are just like, they're looking at you, nodding, no, 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 no.
It was the two next to you.
And he looks around and he goes, all right, that was good. Anyway, so your finger smells foul. But it
I'm
smells a lot like another foul individual we know. So when you're looking for the eye, I know what you seek. Everyone, listen closely. This young woman has traveled the plains to approach the Council of Clowns to know the location of the Eye of the Voice, the great secret keeper, the one who wants to depose all gods to his will. She is her pawn, and she is prettier than most of his pawns. But there were a few that were pretty. Don't get jealous. Don't get jealous. We're just being honest. We're a council. We have to be honest. Okay? Okay. She seems okay with it, everyone. I haven't been misogynistic. All right. Now, that great man wants to enslave us. How do we feel about that, Harlequinari? And then there's a chorus of boo, boo, and then more tomatoes and lettuce and cucumbers and stuff are being thrown at you. Carrots, too. And he goes, yes. We're not a big fan of the voice man. But the voice man does one thing that everyone else doesn't, that we quite like. You'll all remember. He likes to make fun of everyone, doesn't he? So, should we tell her the great secret? Where the eye is that she's looking for? And the crowd is silent, surprisingly enough. A big decision, this is. And another clown named Cutter, or he introduces himself as Cutter. He's like, hello, I'm Cutter, and I live in a hut down by the river Styx. And then there's a chuckle from everyone. And my opinion, not that it's worth very much, because I was kind of wrong the last millions of times that I sat on this council, but I think we should tell her. And you hear woo, woo from the council. Woo, woo, woo. And their eyebrows are going woo. And Bobo turns to you and he looks and he says, as you can see, this is going to be a tough decision. But if we had some reassurances from you that you were the kind of soul that we would want to grant such a powerful piece of information, we need to feel good about who we're speaking to. Don't we? Yeah. So convince us you're a person of true character.
How would I even begin to do that?
Well, look around. You are amongst a people who have the most character of any beings in the cosmos. Look at all the character. Up there, I see Tinkles up there. Hi, Tinkles. Tinkles pees a lot, but never fails to make a good joke of it. Character, it's everything.
Well, I was nicknamed Hope, but I don't seem to bring much of that.
Oh, a melancholy humor. Give us an example. Hope.
I abandoned my friends.
Oh, I bet they didn't like that. How did they take it?
I don't know.
Ooh, wouldn't you like to know?
Not right now. I destroyed my kingdom. Not by my choice. That wasn't very hopeful.
No, not at all, right?
I put on this
Interesting.
object of evil.
Wait, back it up. You destroyed your own kingdom. How did you do it?
The hand can be tracked, apparently. And the first thing I did was go home. And I was followed, and now everyone's dead.
Oh, you seem sad about that. Are you sad?
Yes?
Well, the hand has a way of affecting its participants. What about before the hand? Tell us of your character before.
I enjoyed drinking. That was fun. I was adventuring with my friends. I like to work on cars.
We like
like-
cars here.
Yes?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, what about cars with big wheels? Loud
Oh!
horns?
You know, it's just me, but the bigger the wheels on the car, the better the drive. No?
Yes.
Mm.
Yes, I had a giant van called the Fate 4.
And how loud was the horn on it?
It was very loud. You could hear it across the desert.
Oh. Good taste in vehicles, everyone. Make a note. And everyone picks out a giant pencil and pad of paper that is left on the council, and they start writing a note. And then Godfrey on the other side says, I didn't draw... Wait, what was I drawing? I forgot. This is Bo just talking. I forgot what we were talking about.
Car, the Fate
Four with
4.
big wheels.
They were drawing a car with big wheels, right? Or they were taking notes. Sorry, they were taking notes. They're making a note of your good character. But one of them says, Godfrey, the clown, the sort of Britishy a little bit. He's like, I didn't take notes. I drew a picture of a giraffe getting killed because he couldn't clear the chasm. I don't know. It was just what came to me. Anyway, he puts his pad back down. Well, thank you for your valuable contribution, Godfrey. It's appreciated. So tell us more. You like cars, big wheels, loud horns? Going good so
yes.
far?
Guns.
Mm-hmm.
I had some magic guns. I still have one of them. Made from dragon metal.
Ooh. And what do you do with the guns?
Killed people.
We're with a killer, everyone. What was your funniest kill? I mean, when did you laugh the most after killing a person? Taking their life?
Laughed. Probably when we tortured that dwarf and then threw him into the endless pit.
Torture? Explain? You have our attention, and all 12 remaining council members put their hand on their chin just like I'm doing and listen in.
Well, we had fallen down a pit and managed to climb back up after a very long time. And we were attacked by this dwarf and his family. And we finally beat them back, and we got hold of him. And we had fun.
Oh, don't stop there. You beat him back. When did the torture start?
After everyone else had cleared out.
What did you do to him?
I don't remember specifically. I think we broke some bones.
And what's this about an endless pit? Sounds hilarious.
Yeah, we threw him down and we heard him screaming until we couldn't hear him anymore.
You must have laughed quite a bit after that.
It felt pretty good.
All right, deception roll, please.
A 13.
Okay, he considers it. The council looks, and they have their giant pencils and notepads, and they look to you again. They say, so, for the interest of everyone, we've established that Hope likes big cars and even louder horns, and that she enjoys killing and torturing people. But by your demeanor, you do not appear to be very outwardly humorous. You are an internal humorist, yes? Dry and it's a dry humor. Now, we're in short supply of it here in the Council of Clowns. So if you'd ever like to give a workshop on your kind of humor, I'm sure there would be many Harlequinari who would like to enroll in such a course. Just some food for thought, assuming it goes well for you here. And the whole auditorium has a sinister laugh, like, oh. And as you look at all the clown faces, it's like they know you're gonna die if you F up, and they're all kind of like relishing the pressure that you are under right now. And some of them are eating popcorn, the popcorn's spraying everywhere, and they don't care. So, what else can you tell us about your character?
Well, what is there to tell?
Oh, I don't know. I'll tell you a bit about me. I like to make model trains. Yes, I know. A clown my age making model trains, but I can spend hours assembling the train, making the track, ensuring that the steam engine in the lead train is sufficiently coiled up so that I can move around. And it's not particularly funny, but I think it serves me well as leader of the Council of Clowns. Don't you think?
Yes?
Yes, I think so too.
Okay. Well, if all goes well, I guess I'm ambitious. I'd like to become a god.
Oh! I think that tracks. You have the hand after all, and you have the conniver attached to you. But if you became a god, Hope, what would you hope to do with your god power?
Vengeance. Everybody needs
Vengeance?
revenge.
Seems a little plain, don't you think?
Well, why
And then-
not?
Godfrey speaks up and again he says, yes, quite plain. Vengeance is really a one-dimensional thing. The sign of a low intellect. I don't know, Bobo. This is a distressing piece of information. I'd ask you, Hope, before the council to elaborate on the quality of your vengeancing character so that we can understand how you vengeance people.
Violently.
Yes, but where is
I'd
the
want them to-
spirit in it?
No, I'd want them to relish it. It'd be a vengeance they could watch. They could take part in if they wanted to.
Princess Cecilia speaks up and says, "Ooh, most macabre. Killing just for killing. With no humor in it, no life, no joy. That sounds like serious folk talk." But they all shake their head and go,
Why couldn't there be joy in the killing of it? What if you had been sold as a slave for a while and you broke free? And you wanted to find the people who hurt you. Wouldn't there be joy in that?
And one of the clowns who hasn't spoken before, hello, I'm Abdi the clown, and this all sounds quite serious. Very concerning. Yeah, look, not much humor in that. You're making us very uncomfortable. You talk of slavery and how bad it is to be a slave, and oh, life sucks. I'm a slave. I don't have any rights. Boo-hoo-hoo-hoo. I'm immortal who can't control her own life. Boo-hoo-hoo-hoo. And then the other clowns start to chuckle because he's being mean to you, and the rest of the clowns find that amusing. Poor me, my family died and left me with nothing, and the world betrayed me. And now the tone of the council has become very mocking and hostile towards you.
But what if you could turn the tables on it? Make slaves of the people that enslaved you.
Bobo turns to you and he says, I see that you have a Harlequinari on your council, and yet it seems as though he's not been a good tutor at all. This is depressing. I'm depressed. I want to go kill myself right now. What do you guys think? They're all like, yeah, you're really failing to really show us the quality of your character. So we're very concerned here.
Skunk, what would you do?
I'm to the point that I want to kill everyone up on this stand.
The council left. We find your detestableness amusing. Why haven't you not taught your charge how to behave appropriately in the Council of Clowns?
You asking her or me?
I'm asking you.
No. I left the Harlequinari ages ago.
Sorry, I unplugged my headphones.
I know.
Clowning around.
I had an actual clown moment there.
Oops. I no longer serve you. I no longer associate with you. I left this life behind. This silliness is why.
They all laugh. Nobody serves anyone here. Are you sure you were in the right home place? Harlequinar? You sure you're from Harlequinar and weren't born somewhere else?
At this stage, it doesn't even matter to me. What matters to me is you give her what she needs. We go on our way.
They all look at each other and say, we see why you are not amongst your kind in the Harlequinari world. It's a very big shame, yes. Almost as big as his ugly nose, yes? They all start laughing again. Well, any closing remarks?
Your insults do nothing to me.
Mm-hmm.
Make the call. Give her the eye. or the location thereof.
Are there any closing remarks, Hope?
Hope will look back at Blood Skunk, and then look back defiantly at the council. I hate you all so much. And if I had never had to come here, never had to know it existed, I would have died happier for it.
Let's make an intimidating. This is trying to be intimidating, right? Make an intimidation roll.
Oh, it's a 2.
So they're clearly not intimidated, but they all pause for a minute and they go. They all laugh. Honesty, it's refreshing. Oh my God, she hates us. Tell us more.
How do you even live with yourselves?
I know, right?
And then she'll look back at Dr. Spider and Sirius and Blood Skunk, just confused. What is this place?
Dario, did you give her any pandemona weed before coming in?
What is pandemona weed?
What is pandemona weed? You're sort of escalating. The more and more you get irritated, the more and more everyone starts losing their shit on the council.
I mean, if I were powerful enough now, I'd kill every single one of you.
She's adorable. What do you say, Princess Cecilia? I think she's very strong of character. I think her talents might be hidden. So, this is a very difficult decision. We're going to have to take a recess to consider your petition. We'll be back in a couple of years.
No. Not a couple years.
No, it takes a few years to make a decision.
No. I won't be here.
You have
I will
15.
leave and I will find another way.
You have 15 Earth minutes. No more.
they can't keep it anymore. They begin losing their shit. They're like, he's definitely a Harlequinari. Ah! 15 Earth minutes. Oh. Sorry, I needed a minute there.
You all wonder why I left.
My diabetes is acting up. If I laugh too hard, my diabetes definitely gets worse. Wow, that was quite the speech from both of you. Excellent work. We'll be back in a few years. Yeah, give me the decision. Okay, it won't be a few years. We're just messing with you. We'll be back in 5 seconds. And then he immediately gets up and he walks out of the door and all the clowns leave, super disorganized, knocking their chairs over. And they walk, don't run to like this, this hall that leads to a curtain. And they all disappear behind it, except the third to last one gets caught up in the curtain and pulls the whole curtain down. And then the other two clowns fall over the guy wrapped in the curtain. And then the other, clowns, you just hear this, like you hear honking, this pile of honking happening.
Hope cannot hide her disdain anymore. She's rolling her
And then
eyes,
before they can
shaking
even
her
get
head.
up, Bobo the clown steps over them and walks back to his chair. And the other clowns walk over the pile, back to the chair. And then the other three, not having gone back for recess, just kind of all disheveled, sit back down in their chairs. And Bobo goes, we've come to a decision. It's so exciting. I bet you can't wait to find out what it is. Little Hope.
I'm shaking.
What's special about this moment is that we know the answer and you don't know the
Yes,
answer.
yes,
And
I
you are
know.
very tense trying to find the answer. You want to kill us all, but you can't kill
Yeah.
us all.
No.
Mhm.
Greatest sadness of my life right now.
So how badly do you want to know?
I want to know very badly.
I can taste that desire. What do you think, Godfrey? Yes, I can taste it too. It's quite delicious. Let's not delay any further. I'm getting bored. No laughter. All right. Hope. The Council of Clowns accepting Sparky have come to a fairly unanimous decision. We will grant you the information you're seeking because while we were a little nervous at first, we realized that you are funny in your own little way, and that speaks volumes about your character. It's like your character is this really large version of yourself that's stuck inside the small version of yourself, and it's coming out of everywhere.
Hilarious.
Okay, we shall grant you this knowledge. Are you ready?
Yes.
The eye of the voice can be found in Pentel Vice.
What's Pantel Vice?
In the deepest, darkest reaches of the phlogiston, the space between disks in the prime material plane, exists a prison built by a powerful and long dead wizard. And this prison was made to keep the worst creatures in all of creation. And there it floats. Where it is, no one knows but its wardens and us. We made a pact with the wizard who created it. And you are the second to know its location. Be careful you do not share it with others. For the more people who know of Pentel Vice, the more of your competitors for these artifacts of old that you stick on your arms and eyes will come after you, yes?
Yes.
Yes. Do tell your master that should he attain the power that he has, the Council of Clowns will welcome his petition to our table.
Now, any way to tell me how to get to this place?
Yes. Let's see. Yes, I know what it is. And he snaps his fingers, and then a vehicle, a car, you hear a loud honk, and a car just comes putting around. It drives up in front of you, and it's a small little car, so you're looking like way down at the small little car. And the clown inside reaches into his bag, and he pulls out a rubber chicken, throws it back, and reaches into his bag again, pulls out just like a toy marionette, throws it back, and then he pulls out a box, and he gives it to you. Here you go. It's got a little wind-up thing on the side. And Bobo looks at you and says, wind up the windy thing on the box.
Hope will stare at Bobo as she does this.
And he goes, and then you hear it. And Bobo goes, wait for it. Wait for it. And then this spring-loaded like clown head just pops out and pops into your face, and it's plush, so it doesn't really hurt or anything. It goes, and then it leans over to the side, and then Bubba goes, oh, the whole auditorium erupts in laughter and goes, "There's your answer."
Hope will look at the plush.
it does appear to have settled in a particular direction, leading to the left.
Okay, so she'll look left.
You look left and you see auditorium.
What the hell does this even mean?
Ah, this is a compass box.
Okay.
So it will point in the direction. When you pop it, it will point in the direction of Pentelweiss for you. But it will only work for you, so if you lose it, you have no risk of someone following you. This will
So-
help you on your way.
Okay, so we just start walking then.
Pentelweiss. It's in Phlogiston space. We don't know coordinates here. But you might ask around if someone else has perhaps heard of a prison in Phlogiston space. You will need to return to the prime material plane, book passage upon a ship. You will find it near the Corinthian Nebula. That's as much as I know.
The Corinthian Isn't that leather?
Yeah.
No.
What, is that really a thing?
Corinthian leather? Yeah, it's like a
Fine
fake leather.
Corinthian leather.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's also a nebula in Phlogiston space.
Isn't that what Khan was trying to sell everybody?
Yeah. When he was doing commercials for the Buick or something. Rich Corinthian leather, he'd say. Sorry, go on.
Bobo looks around. He says, "Well, it's been amusing, but we have many appointments to keep. So, if you'd be on your way now, the show's over."
Sounds good.
And
May
all
we
the
never
crowds
meet
begin
again.
singing. Oh, sorry.
Or,
Say it again. I interrupted.
may we never meet again.
And they all kind of laugh. Then they begin to sing, "Closing time. One last call for alcohol. So finish your whiskey and beer. Closing time. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here." And he hits the gavel. The gavel goes. But this time he did it for purposeful effect. And with that, fireworks shoot out all over in the cloud. You can go now.
Okay. Hope opens a portal to Bacho.
Back to Sigil. Perfect. Portal opens up before you as you the ring. Do you have everything you need to be able to cast that right now? I believe so. Yes.
I think I've done some evil acts.
Yeah, I mean, beating up on that guy and those innocent people all throughout Sigil. Sure, you're probably covered. You open up the portal, and the party moves through. Right into Debachos is where you want to go.
Yeah.
Create a gate right into Debachos and return to Sigil, and the Council of Clowns disappears behind you forever.
I mean, Bloodskunk Hendrickson hopes so.
Well, at least that's the end of it for this episode. Congratulations on learning the location Pentelweiss. And
And hitting level
That's it for this
12.
week.
Oh.
no level hitting. But next week we are going to return to Varel Stanley and Jalashi, Nash Maggard of the Solar Mines, and an Omnom perhaps,
Ooh.
and others, Nobieri, and all the elves of Elhendar, and maybe a special new character.
Ooh. Nash would have loved the song that they sang. I just want to get that out there for the record.
Nash would have had a field day here, I know.
Oh, yeah. All the pop culture references he would have gotten from the Solar Mines. Anyway, all right. That's perfect. So next week, back to getting out of the gray wastes and the clowns and back to figuring out our next step. You guys come and do it with us. That's all we ask. In the meantime, join up our little support system over there at therewillbedungeons.com. Become a Dungeons Plus member. It nets you all sorts of bonuses, including a bonus show, which we're going to record right after this. And then if you're on that thing, even if you're at the lowest level, you get one like today. And that's awesome. If not, you got to wait a while. So Do you really want to wait? No, the answer is no. Go sign up. That's it. Therewillbedungeons.com. Find everything you're looking for there. That's going to do it for us. Thank you all for being here, for listening and being a part of this. That website will get you in contact with all of us. You can send us your questions there and everything else. Please do. We love it. That's going to do it for us. For me, for Kyle, for Kristen, for John, for Bo, Baby Chunks, and all the rest. We'll see you next time.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Yes. Get more at frogpants.com.